You know Malawi never sleeps when politics is in the air. Hey, my friend, this one is another full-blown drama straight from Capitol Hill to the nation's gossip tables. The ink has barely dried on the swearing-in papers, and already tongues are wagging from Blantyre to Mzuzu about who got what, who's back, and who's warning who. The political ground is shaking again, Nditu. The story: three big names, George Chaponda, Joseph Mwanamvekha, and Alfred Gangata, have stepped right into the center of the new cabinet. And just when people were saying, the DPP days are gone, here comes Professor Peter Mutharika, smiling calmly but warning sharply. Yes, wachita chenjezo. He's sent a message that this time his administration won't play games. Now, this isn't just about positions, it's about strategy, loyalty, and the quiet power behind every handshake. Chaponda, once the country's foreign affairs giant, returns like a man rewriting his own history. Mwanamvekha, the economic technocrat, is back to wrestle Malawi's foreign exchange demons. And Gangata, this one, a businessman turned politician whose rise is as dramatic as a telenovela ending. But don't be fooled, my friend. These appointments aren't just promotions, they're signals. Every name tells a story. Every position sends a message. Mutharika isn't building a team, he is rebuilding a fortress. And if you think that's just talk, wait until we unpack each layer. Because as one seasoned political analyst whispered, in Malawi, a cabinet reshuffle is never just a reshuffle, it's a declaration of war in slow motion. So let's dive in. Fact 1 coming up, and trust me, it's a comeback story that could make even Hollywood jealous. Because when George Chaponda walks back into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it's not just diplomacy, it's déjà vu with fireworks.
Malawi. When history repeats itself, it doesn't whisper. It walks in wearing a suit and holding a Bible at the swearing-in ceremony. And that's exactly what we witnessed when George Chaponda and Joseph Mwanamvekha stepped back into the political spotlight. Smiles on their faces as if to say, you didn't think we were done, did you? Let's start with George Chaponda, the man, the diplomat, the survivor. His political story reads like a movie script. A man who's seen the highs of cabinet glory and the lows of controversy, yet somehow always finds his way back to center stage. Now, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, he's back where it all began. When Chaponda first served in this same ministry years ago, Malawi's international relations were facing turbulence. Critics said he was too sharp, too outspoken, and at times too confident. But if there's one thing about Chaponda, it's that he doesn't flinch. Even after the Mazegate scandal years ago, which nearly buried his career, the man kept his cool. He went quiet for a while, yes, but he never truly disappeared. Like a seasoned chess player, he waited for the board to reset. And now the board has reset. Nditu. Chaponda's return isn't just a job, it's a statement. Mutharika could have picked anyone to lead foreign affairs, but he chose the one man who already knows the ropes, who's been burned before and still came back with thicker skin. To supporters, this is redemption. To critics, it's recycled politics. But either way, Chaponda is back, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs just got louder. He's already talking about priorities, strengthening bilateral ties, rekindling relations with donors, and pushing economic diplomacy to bring in investment. In his own words, Malawi must speak with one strong voice to the world. Simple, confident, and classic Chaponda. Whether that voice will be diplomatic melody or political thunder, we'll soon find out. Then we move to Joseph Mwanamvekha, the man who knows numbers better than most know their own phone pins. He's been brought back as Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Planning, and trust me, that's no small task. Malawi's economy right now is like a car running on fumes. Forex shortages, fuel crisis, and prices jumping faster than Eskom tariffs. But Mwanamvekha is not new to pressure. He's a financial technocrat who's been through the storm before. During his last tenure, he fought to stabilize a struggling currency, to manage donor expectations, and to keep the government running when funds were tight. Whether you liked his policies or not, you can't deny the man knows the system. At the swearing-in, Mwanamvekha didn't waste time sugarcoating the challenges. He said plainly, "Our priority must be to secure foreign exchange. If we fix forex, we fix half our problems." Straight talk, the kind Malawians appreciate because hunger doesn't wait for policy papers. Still, his return has raised questions. Some say bringing back old guys like him means DPP is recycling ideas. But Mutharika's reasoning seems clear. He's choosing reliability over experimentation. Mwanamvekha understands the playbook, knows where the gaps are, and can pick up from where he left off. Both Chaponda and Mwanamvekha are part of Mutharika's inner circle, men he trusts completely. That loyalty counts for a lot in a political landscape where betrayal is as common as fuel queues. This cabinet isn't just about competence. It's about control. So what do these appointments tell us? That Mutharika is not here to play. He's assembling a team of survivors, people who've been tested, criticized, and still came out standing. Because in his world, experience isn't a luxury, it's a survival skill. Whether this duo will bring results or more déjà vu is anyone's guess. But one thing's certain. With Chaponda and Mwanamvekha back in office, the DPP cabinet is moving with a mix of old wisdom and old wounds. But while these two seasoned players are returning to familiar offices, there's one name shaking the ground for a completely different reason. A man whose rise feels like a plot twist no one saw coming. Let's talk about the wild card of the cabinet, Alfred Gangata.
Now, if Chaponda and Mwanamvekha are the old lions returning to the pride, then Alfred Gangata is the leopard that just jumped over the fence, caught everyone's attention, and made the forest go silent. Because, my friend, Gangata's rise from businessman to Minister of State has the whole country saying, "Hey, koma hizi nda za Chilendo." Who exactly is Alfred Gangata? To some, he is the definition of ambition, a self-made businessman who hustled his way into politics. To others, he is the storm that keeps following the PPP wherever it goes. Either way, one thing is true. This man doesn't walk quietly. His appointment as Minister of State under Peter Mutharika's direct supervision is one of the biggest surprises in the new cabinet. This is not a light position. It's a seat close to power, a role that connects directly to the president's agenda. Gangata will be working hand in hand with Mutharika himself, meaning his decisions, his tone, and his image will reflect directly on the presidency. That's pressure that could turn coal into diamonds or diamonds into dusts. But let's not pretend Gangata's path has been spotless. No. The man has carried controversy like a shadow. From reports of forged academic certificates to legal run-ins and tax issues, his name has been through the mud and somehow still sparkles under the spotlight. There was even that viral clip where he confidently told critics, "Let them be like Thomas. They will believe when they see." And believe, people did, though not everyone believed the same thing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Despite all the noise, Peter Mutharika still picked him. And that choice speaks volumes, because in politics, loyalty is currency. And Gangata's loyalty to the PPP and to Mutharika has never been in question. Even when others distanced themselves during turbulent times, Gangata stood firm. That kind of allegiance doesn't go unnoticed in the PPP world. Supporters say this appointment shows that the president values results over reputation. They claim Gangata's business mindset could bring practical change, less bureaucracy, more action. One PPP youth leader said he understands the streets, and that's the kind of energy the government needs right now. But critics? They're not buying it. They say this is political nepotism dressed in hustle. They fear it sends the wrong message, that controversy pays if you're loyal enough. Opposition voices are already sharpening their microphones, promising to keep Gangata under close watch. And let's be honest, that scrutiny will be relentless. Every speech, every photo, every public appearance, all will be magnified. Still, Gangata doesn't seem fazed. In fact, he seems energized by the noise. That's what makes him dangerous. Not in a bad way, but in a way that keeps the political scene unpredictable. He's bold, fearless, and loves the spotlight. It's that same confidence that might help him survive the storm or sink him if he missteps. And Mutharika, he knows exactly what he's doing. By appointing Gangata, he's signaling two things. First, that loyalty will always be rewarded in his circle, and second, that he's willing to gamble on charisma over caution. Gangata brings energy and a bit of chaos, and maybe that's exactly what Mutharika wants to jolt his administration into motion. Still, let's be real. Gangata's appointment is both a risk and a revelation. It's proof that in Malawi's politics, reputation is negotiable, but loyalty is priceless. Whether he becomes the government's bold success story or its biggest headline nightmare will depend on how he handles the pressure that's about to land squarely on his shoulders. For now, all eyes are on him. And in a country that loves both drama and redemption, that's not necessarily a bad place to be. But while Gangata is busy adjusting to his new power seat, the man behind the curtain, Professor Peter Mutharika, is making sure everyone remembers who's in charge. And when the old lion growls, the whole jungle listens.
If politics were a classroom, Peter Mutharika would be the professor who walks in quietly, adjusts his glasses, and then drops a test paper no one saw coming. Calm, calculated, and deeply observant. That's how he operates. But when he finally speaks, everyone listens. Ndito. When Mutharika addressed his newly sworn-in ministers, his words weren't wrapped in poetry or politics. They were firm, measured, and full of intent. You could almost feel the air tighten in the room. He said, "I don't want laziness. I don't want corruption. I don't want excuses." Boom. That wasn't a motivational quote. It was a political warning fired straight into the cabinet. Now, that tone tells you everything about this new phase of Mutharika's rule. He's not the same leader from 5 years ago, the one people said was too soft-spoken or too forgiving. This time, he's returning like a man who's been through war, lost soldiers, and now wants only the best warriors by his side. He's rebuilding a team that doesn't just obey, it delivers. Observers say this version of Mutharika, calm on the surface, coldly decisive underneath, is his most strategic yet. He knows exactly how fragile his political comeback is. He's 85, Nitu, and every move he makes will define how history remembers him. This cabinet, therefore, isn't just about governance, it's about legacy. So, what exactly was he warning about? Let's break it down. First, corruption. Malawi has seen enough scandals to fill a season of DPP diaries, and Mutharika knows his opponents are watching for any slip-up. By warning his ministers openly, he's doing two things: setting the tone for accountability and covering himself politically. If any minister gets caught stealing or cutting corners, the president can say, "I warned them." It's leadership and self-protection rolled into one. Second, efficiency. He scolded the civil service for endless meetings and time wasting. He said, "We're in a digital world. We can't behave like it's 1974. That's classic Mutharika, blending intellect with irony. It's his way of saying, stop talking, start doing. And if you can't, step aside. Third, discipline. The professor understands loyalty like few others. His comeback wasn't powered by slogans. It was powered by allies who never left his side. Now, he expects that loyalty to turn into results. He's not tolerating faction fights within DPP, no sabotage, no silent camps. His message to his ministers was clear: work as one, or I'll replace you with someone who will. Political analysts are already reading this as Mutharika's version of the iron hand in a velvet glove. He'll smile for the cameras, but behind closed doors, he's cracking the whip. One insider described it best: the professor is done with pleasantries. This is his final lap, and he wants to leave no room for mistakes. But here's the twist. For all his toughness, Mutharika isn't blind to the fact that his cabinet is a balancing act between loyalty and controversy. He knows some of his appointees come with baggage, but in his eyes, that's manageable, as long as they deliver. He's seen how chaos weakens governments. Remember the infighting during his last term, the constant opposition attacks, the defections. This time, Mutharika is sealing every crack before it opens. His speech wasn't just to the ministers, it was a coded message to everyone in DPP. The old man is back, and he's not playing.
And honestly, you can feel that sense of urgency. There's no fluff, no long smiles, no sweet talk. It's straight business. Like a headmaster reopening a school after a riot. He wants order, now. Still, you can't help but admire the irony. For a man known for his quiet academic style, Mutharika now sounds more like a general than a professor. Maybe that's what Malawi needs right now. Less theory, more thunder. Because, as one analyst put it on Capital Radio, if Mutharika's words become action, this could be a comeback story like no other. But if his ministers ignore him, we'll be right back where we started. But of course, behind every presidential warning lies a bigger game, a strategy for power, control, and survival. So what's Mutharika really building here? A cabinet of progress or a fortress of loyalty? Let's unpack that next.
Behind every appointment, every handshake, and every oath taken at Kamuzu Palace, there's a bigger story. And that story is called strategy. Because make no mistake, Peter Mutharika isn't just building a government. He's building a shield made of loyalty, history, and political survival instincts sharper than a bland-tired tailor's scissors. See, Malawi's politics is not for the faint-hearted. It's a jungle of alliances, betrayals, and sudden plot twists. And the DPP, having once tasted both victory and defeat, has learned that power doesn't just depend on numbers. It depends on who's standing beside you when the storm hits. That's why this new cabinet feels less like a random collection of names and more like a hand-picked defense team. Let's break it down. Bringing back Chaponda and Mwanamvekha sends a strong message. DPP is returning to its roots. These are the men who understand Mutharika's system, his rhythm, his expectations. They've worked with him before. They know how to read his silences. And in a political landscape full of shifting loyalties, that kind of familiarity is worth more than flashy new faces. Then there's Gangata, the wild card. His appointment isn't just about experience. It's about influence. Gangata connects with younger voters, the hustlers, the entrepreneurs who feel left out of Malawi's political elite. By elevating him, Mutharika isn't just rewarding loyalty, he's broadening DPP's appeal. It's a move that says, we see you, the youth, the dreamers, the restless ones. But don't get it twisted. This cabinet is also a message to the party's internal rivals. In DPP, loyalty is a test, not a title. Mutharika has seen what happens when factions start pulling in different directions. He's not about to let history repeat itself. By surrounding himself with trusted figures, he's locking the gates before the whispers turn into revolts. One DPP insider put it perfectly. If you're not inside Mutharika's circle right now, you're probably outside it for good. That's how high the stakes are. Now, politically speaking, this move positions Mutharika as both commander and referee. He's centralizing control, yes, but also balancing power between the old and the new, between established allies and rising voices. The plan is simple: minimize rebellion, maximize results. Still, there's a thin line between unity and uniformity. Too much control can silence innovation. Too much loyalty can choke diversity of thought. Malawi's challenges, from Forex crises to governance reforms, need fresh ideas, not recycled speeches. If the DPP can't adapt, it risks becoming a party of memories instead of momentum. But Mutharika seems confident. He's betting on structure over spontaneity and discipline over debate. In his eyes, this cabinet isn't a reunion, it's a reboot, a second chance to fix what went wrong before. For the DPP faithful, this lineup feels like victory in motion. For the opposition, it looks like déjà vu. And for everyday Malawians, it's a wait-and-see situation. They've heard promises before. They've seen ministers come and go, policies rise and fall. What they want now isn't speeches. It's change they can feel at the market, at the fuel pump, at the dinner table. So yes, Mutharika has tightened his inner circle, fortified his control, and set his expectations.
But at the end of the day, even the strongest fortress must deliver from within. Because in politics, as in life, loyalty keeps you safe, but results keep you standing. And that brings us to the final question, my friend. After all the oaths, the promises, and the political choreography, can this new DPP cabinet truly deliver for the people? Or is it just another rerun of Malawi's greatest hits? So here we are, Malawi. Another cabinet, another chapter, another round of promises wrapped in protocol. The DPP is back in full force. The old guard is back in their suits, and Peter Mutharika is once again at the helm, looking calm but commanding. The stage is set, but what comes next will determine whether this comeback becomes history or just another headline. Chaponda will be judged by how he restores Malawi's image abroad, not by his speeches, but by the partnerships he builds. Mwanamvekha will be tested by numbers, fuel queues, and prices that make every household groan. Gangata will either silence his critics or prove them right, depending on how he handles real power under pressure. And Mutharika? He'll be judged by how this team performs, because every success will be his, and every failure will wear his name. It's a risky cabinet, Ndithu. Bold but fragile. A mixture of redemption, ambition, and old loyalty. But maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what Malawi needs right now. Familiar hands, new energy, and a leader who's got no time left for second chances. So, my friend, what do you think? Is this the DPP's rebirth, or just a reshuffle of history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because here at Global Pulse News, we don't just report, we dissect, debate, and decode what others shy away from. And if you love this kind of fearless analysis, the kind that mixes truth with tempo, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a beat. Until next time, stay alert, stay informed, and remember, in Malawi politics, every handshake hides a headline, and every headline hides a story. Zikomu Kwamberi. This is Global Pulse News, signing out.